Hello and welcome to Brodual. This time we have SkyDie, Prepare to Cry edition. This is a mod that changes a bunch of the game's mechanics in order to create a more difficult and challenging experience in the world of Skyrim. We've seen some similar changes in bigger overhauls like Requiem, but SkyDie aims to only change the core features, and then let you decide whether you want additional combat, perk, transformation and magic mods alongside it. The features also work together well to encourage you to use certain features more often than you would in the vanilla game, while also limiting your ability in certain areas to provide a more immersive experience. So for example, the mod changes a few things to encourage a certain type of travelling in Skyrim. First and foremost, the mod disables your ability to fast travel, encouraging you to travel along Skyrim's roads. On top of that, it also disables your ability to apply perk points at will, and now you can only do it after sleeping at one of your player homes or at an inn, which encourages you to visit Skyrim's towns and cities. And finally, running also now depletes your stamina alongside sprinting. It's not as intensive as sprinting, but it still means you can't run all across Skyrim without needing to catch your breath. So when you combine these three features, it ultimately changes the basic way you play Skyrim. You'll not only get a horse because you think it looks good, but because you physically can't run for miles and miles without tiring yourself out. The mod also encourages the use of carriages to travel from place to place, which works great alongside a mod like touring carriages. Several features have been added and changed to increase the difficulty and complexity of combat. The most basic change is that you'll now deal more damage to enemies, so they're easier to kill, but they'll also hit more damage and be able to kill you more easily too, which means you'll really have to avoid getting hit, which works great alongside a mod like Ultimate Combat because you can actively dodge. But really, because the mod doesn't change enemy AI or abilities, any combat mod will be an improvement. On top of that, the mod adds more unleveled enemies, which means sometimes you'll stumble upon an enemy you simply can't beat using standard combat tactics. So you'll either have to come up with something on the spot or simply flee with your body still intact. The mod also changes the way your health, stamina and magicka work to give them a more active role in combat. Health regen is now disabled, so if you take a hit you'll have to use a healing potion or find somewhere to rest it off. On top of that, the healing potions have also been nerfed, so they're less effective, and the price has also been increased, so they'll cost more. Stamina now also affects your damage, so the lower your stamina the less damage you'll do. So if you're sprinting into battle, then you want to defeat your enemies quickly. And finally, there's similar scaling changes to magicka. Now when your magicka is high, you'll deal higher amounts of magical damage, but as it depletes you'll start to deal less, which makes the spell sword type character more effective. So overall you'll have to keep an eye on your player's current levels in order to decide what your next best move is, which increases the effectiveness of tactical combat. As you might imagine, combat is now very draining for your character, and you can't expect to be able to slaughter an entire bandit camp without any help, especially at lower levels, which encourages the need to bring a follower or two along, which works great alongside a mod like the Ultimate Follower Overhaul. The effectiveness of armor has also been changed to make their effectiveness more noticeable, so now heavy armors will offer more protection against all types of weapons, but on the downside the armor will weigh you down and make you slower. Light armors on the other hand keep you agile, but are weak against incoming arrows. However, leveling up your armor skill level will decrease the downsides of each type of armor. What's great is that a lot of these changes also affect NPCs too, so running will deplete their stamina and their armor type will noticeably change the way they handle themselves in combat. Overall, we think SkyDie works well to increase realism in the world of Skyrim. It also encourages the use of certain features that would logically make sense to use, like horses to travel across long distances, and bringing a follower or two to a bandit camp or a dragon fight. So down below we'll include a bunch of mods that we think complement the changes made by SkyDie. In terms of compatibility, you shouldn't have any huge issues, but we'd avoid mods that make similar changes for balancing issues. However, if you're certain they'll work fine together, then just tweak your load order so the right clashing feature gets overwritten. As always, you can find a link to the mod down below, and be sure to leave an endorsement on any mod you enjoy, and thanks for watching.